After the end of the Cold War, Romania, like a lot of the other Eastern Bloc countries, was kind of left holding the bag with a ton of leftover Soviet-era military hardware. The logistical infrastructure for this equipment had mostly vanished, the defensive treaties had crumbled, and it was all quickly getting outpaced by more modern developments. With that context, they set about upgrading their Mig-21 and Mig-29 fleets. The Mig-21 upgrade resulted in the Lancer, while the Mig-29 upgrade program was called the Sniper. Now, relations between Romania and the newly formed Russian Federation were a bit strained, so they chose to work with some other foreign partners for these upgrade programs. Aerostar, a domestic Romanian company, brought in Elbit Systems from Israel and DASA out of Germany to coordinate on the Mig-29 Sniper upgrade. Coming fresh off of the generally successful Lancer upgrade for the Mig-21s, enthusiasm was a bit high for what could be done with Romania's small Mig-29 fleet. Unfortunately, the Sniper ended up kinda being the right upgrade at the wrong moment. Elbit Systems was able to almost completely rework the jet's electronic systems, giving it new communications and navigation gear, a completely redesigned and modernized cockpit, along with migration to the 1553B data bus standard. This promised potential compatibility with Western radar and weapon systems through future upgrade modules, but none were ever finished, and the Sniper was never able to carry any Western missiles or anything. Only one Mig-29 was upgraded to the Sniper specification, and it first flew in May of 2000. While it did provide a significant upgrade for the basic Mig-29, the cost was high and came at a time when most Mig-29 users were reducing their defense budgets. To make matters worse, political tensions with Russia resulted in the Russian aerospace industry threatening to cut off spare parts and maintenance supplies to anyone who went with the Sniper upgrade instead of a Russian upgrade package. In the end, the Sniper program was abandoned, and the only prototype now sits in a museum. What we get in War Thunder is the Mig-29 Sniper. This is a premium vehicle in Rank 8 of the Italian tech tree at battle rating 12.7 for air and 11.7 for ground. This jet has a full ballistics computer, including an EEGS, and it gets a modern radar warning receiver which tracks E through J bands. Its radar is the N019E. This is basically identical to the radar set on the regular Mig-29. It's got track wall scan, multiple look-down modes, BVR and ACM targeting, and helmet-mounted targeting. The jet also gets an infrared search and track, and more about that a little later. For loadouts, the jet gets 6 wing hardpoints and a centerline drop tank. The wing hardpoints can take rockets, bombs, and missiles in different combinations on different stations, so if you want a particular weapon, you might have to mix and match a bit. Your infrared missiles are the R-60MK and the R-27T1. The R-60 is an all-aspect missile with good tracking and 30 Gs of pull, but it's got an enormous seeker aperture, so it loves to chase flares, and it's also got very short range. The 27T1 is much longer range and generally has great performance, but you can only take 2 of them. The Sniper also carries 2 semi-active radar missiles, starting off with the R-27R1 and moving up to the R-27ER1. The R1 is a good accurate weapon that'll get you a lot of kills while you're spading the plane, but the ER is another beast entirely. Even in an up tier, the R-27ER1 is still a really strong weapon with high accuracy, amazing speed, and good tracking. But again, you can only take 2 of them. With its flight performance, the Sniper is very similar to other Mig-29s. If you buy this and you're new to high-tier jets, get ready for a pretty massive learning curve. The engine power on this jet is excellent. It's got better acceleration than most other light fighters, but stuff like the F-15 will still outpace it. Also, the acceleration above Mach 1 doesn't drop off as quickly as most other jets, and you can use the surplus engine performance and its excellent rate of climb in order to help positioning, but more on match tactics in a minute. Getting back to the engines, they're thirsty. Taking the drop tank and a full fuel load is almost mandatory on most maps, and on the larger EC-style maps, you'll probably need to lay off the afterburner for a good chunk of the match. The flip side of that, again, is that you get really strong performance out of the afterburners, and even down on the deck, the Mig-29 can push a little past Mach 1.3, and it's just plain fast for a light fighter. The turning performance and general agility of the Mig-29 Sniper is kind of in a weird spot. As of mid-2025, if you're in an up tier, it's going to be far enough behind the curve that it can actually make a meaningful difference even if your ACM is pretty good. And in a down tier, it ends up being either evenly matched or noticeably better in turn performance than the opposition. Regardless though, it's still got strong engine power, which makes it well suited for vertical maneuvers, and you can sometimes energy trap other jets in its bracket. Another data point is that the Mig-29's instantaneous turn rate is a little worse than a lot of the other jets it faces, but its sustained turn rate is actually very competitive, roughly equal to an F-16A. Your best speed for flat turns is going to be about 800 kilometers an hour, but just be aware that pilot blackout is a big issue with MiG-29s generally, and it might take some adjustment if you picked this up as your first high-tier jet. All of the footage in this review was recorded with a fully upgraded ace pilot. Flying the Mig-29 Sniper into air battles is, unsurprisingly, a lot like other MiG-29s. There are some limitations you need to plan for, but once you get comfortable, it can still be a lot of fun. The first thing to discuss is your mission profile. If you really want to, you can fly this up, use track while scan to find targets, and try to take a BVR shot or two using the R-27 ERs. They're great weapons at medium range, but the challenge becomes that you only get 2 of them, and some of your opponents in high-altitude BVR can take 4 to 8 shots each. My preferred strategy is to follow a fairly typical low-altitude flank attack profile, trying to come in from the sides and catch the enemy team off guard. I usually keep my radar in HMS mode, waiting until I have something visually spotted at fairly close range in order to go in and attack. The 27 ERs are monsters between 3 and 10 kilometers, and if you use them at those short ranges, it'll be incredibly difficult for your opponent to avoid. Keeping the radar in HMS lets you potentially sneak up on people without the radar warning receiver tipping them off about your approach. Similarly, as soon as you fire your 27 ERs, or right from takeoff if you're using the 27Ts, switch your sensor into IRST mode. This has the advantage that it won't set off radar warning receivers, even with a lock, and it tends to track more accurately than radar does at shorter ranges. Your R60s will slave to a sensor lock, but just remember that they're best used within 2 kilometers and have a big appetite for flares, so most of your kills with them are going to be surprise shots on targets who aren't looking in your direction. They can be good missiles for dogfighting, as they pull pretty hard and track easily, but again, they love flares, so just keep that in mind. For ground attack, I'm gonna suggest not bothering. You can take some bombs into air battles, or maybe the rocket pods into close air support, but don't. The hard points are better spent on missiles, and there are plenty of jets at this BR more suited to ground attack. Visually, the Mig-29 is always a good-looking jet, and I'm generally a fan of blue paint jobs. But I'm sorry, that huge sniper up on the nose is just goofy looking. Other than that, though, good looking jet. Landing this jet is the same as other MiG-29s. If you're new to high-tier aircraft, get used to fast landings and try to set down at around 300 kilometers an hour. You can drop the gear at up to almost 700, and the landing flaps at about 460. The cockpit is definitely an upgrade over the regular MiG-29. You've got two huge MFDs, but the radar warning receiver is kind of hidden behind the HUD projector, and you kind of have to skew your head a little bit to see it in VR. Still, a better VR experience than the regular MiG-29. To finish up with the Mig-29 SNIPER. This jet has really good engine power. The R-27ER is an excellent weapon. It has infrared search and track along with a helmet-mounted sight, and it gets premium bonuses. However, it tends to run out of countermeasures pretty quickly. It only carries 2 high-end missiles, and it's very expensive. The final verdict on the Mig-29 SNIPER is that this is a fairly competent light fighter. If it's your first high-tier jet, there's going to be an absolutely enormous learning curve, especially getting the hang of the R60 MKs. But with practice, it can be an effective fighter to help grinding or just have fun with on its own. Still though, the price tag. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, check out this other one.